Good evening and welcome to the ChitChat Gaming Podcast. I'm your humble host, Maggie Bott, and I am joined by my co-host, Jason Hancock. Hi, Jason.
Hello.
And today on the podcast, we have a very special guest. We have my friend Kimberly Bullock. Kimberly, hello.
Hello. How are you guys?
I'm doing okay. Just getting through a move, so I'm tired as hell.
Absolutely reasonable.
And how are you, Jason?
I'm doing good. Moving sucks, by the way. Just in case you weren't
Moving
aware
totally
of that.
sucks.
Are you
It's
still
pretty
putting together
terrible.
furniture, though, at this point? Like, are you all the way done, or?
Are you ever all the way done?
No.
Yeah, for the most part, yes, but there's always stuff to do.
Yeah, I am 2 full gaming shelves shy of what I need for the house, so my games are just stacked in piles. It's really bad.
Trip to IKEA, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's coming up a couple weeks from now. It's just like this time of year, it's like every weekend is another holiday, and I hate it.
Right. Yeah, nobody wants to go to IKEA at this time of year.
No.
Couldn't pay me to go right now.
We actually did it right before Christmas last year. It was a disaster.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yep.
And it's like you want all those things. You want like pretty shelves and nice things around this time of year, but I don't want to go to IKEA. I don't want to.
No, you don't need them that badly.
No.
I'm trying to avoid going to the grocery store at all costs.
Right, yeah, exactly. But that's
The
every day.
grocery- We can survive.
That's all the time for you, Kimberly. You're always avoiding going to the grocery store.
I know. It's so much worse at the holiday, though.
My new house has 2 grocery stores on the way to and from work instead of the Trader Joe's I used to have. So I'm feeling like it'll be a lot more convenient just to pop in here and there.
That's good.
All right, well, so our podcast today is going to be a little bit about what Kimberly has built, which is this fabulous little gaming convention called the Granite Game Summit, which is coming up in a couple months, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll probably hit some Rogue One and some Kickstarter stuff, but that's the plan at this point. Well, Kimberly, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and like how you got into this and everything?
Hi. All right. How I got into the convention or just board gaming in general?
I mean,
into the convention?
you could do both.
All of it. We
Okay,
want to know all of
just
it.
everything.
Tell me about when you were born, and then
Okay,
go
well,
from there.
I am 33 years old.
So how many Star Wars is that? That's a lot of Star Wars.
That's a lot. So many Star Wars. Yep. I think that actually it was a Twitter thing is how Granite Game Summit came to be. First, Kevin, one of my co-organizers, and I met at BGG last year. And then Michael and I met through Twitter, and there was just a back and forth Twitter conversation about how general lack of gaming conventions in the area, and that kind of started the whole thing. We decided to meet up, make sure nobody was going to murder anyone. You know,
Right.
those core things when you meet people on
Minor
the internet.
details.
Yeah, minor details.
Or if
Nobody
they're gonna
murder me,
them,
please.
just not the people in charge of things.
Right,
Right.
exactly. And then, sat down and discussed, like, what is it that you think there should be gaming con-wise, and what is it that I think, and how do those mesh, and do we complement each other personality-wise? What can you bring to the table? What can I bring? And it kind of built from there.
So you were on Twitter and you met these people, and then like, what do you do next?
We actually set up a meeting. Michael and I met first for coffee. That was to suss out, make sure I wasn't afraid he was going to murder me. He seemed like a decent human being. We had mutual friends, but we hadn't actually met before. And then the 3 of us got together for a meeting, and it was 10 degrees outside. It was terrible. But thankfully we all, braved it and sat down and talked about what can you bring to the table? What is it that you would like to see? Growth potential. What is it that you think is missing in our general region, board gaming convention wise, and just really hashed that all out, made sure that it fit and that our personalities fit well together, and then we kind of moved forward from there.
So my biggest question for a gaming convention when you're planning it, because this is the part that would completely intimidate me. How do you plan for how many people you want there?
Oh my goodness. So we actually started out with the very, very modest of, I think we can each get 20 people.
There you go.
So 60 people was literally the goal. There are 3 of us, Kevin Crane, Michael Taylor, and myself. And it was like, okay, I can get 20 people. Can you get 20 people? You can get 20 people. So let's aim for 60, but let's find a space that can support double that.
Okay.
So we were looking for spaces that could support 120. Really, we were like, fingers crossed. Can we get 100? That would be amazing because that's a decent amount of human beings. It's like a really good game day. And we kind of moved forward from that and started looking at venues that could support roughly that amount.
And so your first year was this last year, is that correct?
It was. Our first event was in May. We've actually had 2 events this year, and we have one upcoming next year. Our first event was May 14th, I believe. It's been a while now. And we ended up selling out with a solid wait list a week before our event. So actually, Marguerite, it was the day that I met up with you when I was in Seattle.
Okay.
At like
And that was...
at like 5 a.m. I had a conference call with the boys, the other 2 organizers, of do we double our space and double our cost? Because we had built in we can move, like upgrade our space within the venue. But obviously it's a large risk. It's double the expense. And how many people on the wait list are really going to buy tickets? And will there be enough drive? It's in 7 days, you know? And we decided to do it and sold out again. So it was worthwhile.
I mean, that's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so stressful, though. It was not an easy decision to make. It was like, oh, there's like 30 people on a wait list. That's, not going to cover the cost even of... It was a tough call to make, but I'm glad we did.
Yeah, I mean, it's a risk, but honestly, when you take risks like that, it's for the potential of what success you can have, Like
Exactly. It's about building your future audience.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so where did you end up, like, demographically? What did you aim for people signing up, and who actually showed up to play games?
So we are about an hour north of Boston, and we based it around, like, a central location was kind of key. So not too far from Boston, not far from the seacoast or the Cape. And in New England, everything's really close together. So it's accessible from Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey. They're all within a few hours. So, I mean, we had people from Michigan at the first event.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they were just on vacation, and then they saw it was happening, so they extended their trip so they could be here for it. And they have badges to our next event, too. They're coming from Michigan for our multi-day in April.
That's pretty amazing.
That was really exciting. Yeah, when she emailed me, I was pretty excited to see that. Mm-hmm. I'm very grateful they had enough fun that they're making a special trip from Michigan to come back.
And how many days is your con? Is it...
This one will be 3-day.
Okay.
The first 2 were just 1-day events. 1 day, 15 hours, non-stop gaming with play to win and some raffles, and Designer Alley with local designers. You can sit down and play their games with them. But mostly it's just open tabletop gaming. Yeah, just open gaming. It's like BGG in that way, just non-stop gaming.
That's really neat. And I think I like the idea of starting with something like a 15-hour, like, 1 day, so you can do it really successfully, and then to try and break out into multiple days later.
Yeah. And this is even sooner than we had initially intended to do that. It just...
yeah, but with that kind of success, I mean...
Right. The demand is there. We've sold out heartily both times now. We sold out completely this time with a solid wait list and did not extend because it was too close to the event. We opted not to add another room. The flow at the venue just didn't work well for adding the extra space. We have switched venues because we need a larger venue now, and we're looking forward, and we're making more events. We have like a geeky trivia night and board game relay and a bunch of different events for this one.
Oh, that's so neat.
Have you added any panels in yet? Or you've said
no
something
panels.
You're looking to? Okay. Something you're interested in?
Not currently, because it is mostly just open gaming format for now. Right. I'm not saying never, but for now, we're doing the multi-day thing. Let's see how this goes.
Right on.
In the fetal position, we'll see. I think it'll go fine. We have really great volunteers, and we're pretty well organized, but, there's always a risk.
So did you call up friends that run cons, or like who had done this before?
I did. Well, I tweeted because, Twitter is how I do all of the things. I tweeted if somebody, I had a series of tweets like, if you were going to start a board game convention, what are the things that you would like, like if you're going to a new small convention, what are the things that you'd like to see? What are the amenities that you need the venue to have? What do you need nearby? So it was a series of tweets like that. And I talked to organizers from other conventions, local and from Geekway, and had a lot of feedback from them, which was very helpful. They told me about all of the things that could potentially go wrong and how to nip it in the bud before they go wrong, which is wonderful. They helped us write a harassment policy. I went back and forth with multiple people about that. Yeah, definitely called on the community for help.
And that's amazing that there's so many people on Twitter that just are willing to help. They don't.
Oh, yeah.
They don't feel it as a competition or anything like that.
No.
So.
No, they were wonderful. I really got a lot of help from a lot of other members of the community who were more experienced at running this specific kind of event. I have fundraising events that I have run, but I have never run a convention, and they are definitely different beasts.
What's probably the most single piece of advice that you found the most helpful from?
Ooh. Getting in, I think the harassment policy actually, and that was Chris Darden, who is also serves for Geekway. He was like, harassment is a big deal, and which was always on the forefront. It was one of the first meeting items we spoke of the first time we met, and that definitely, you set the precedent beforehand. Before there's an incident, you make sure that there are rules and that somebody can enforce those rules, and that there's an escalation policy. And that somebody will step in and actually do the thing,
One big thing I learned, so I work with Geek Girl Con out here in Seattle. It's a different type of convention. It's not just gaming. It's got a lot of other stuff. But the one thing that they do, like, first and foremost with their harassment policy is it's on the front page of their website. It's on the tickets. Like, literally, If you're not cool, you're getting kicked out. And then what they did is they actually built a reaction team that just roams the con looking for problems.
Yeah. That is exactly what we're working on right now with we're changing our volunteer structure a little bit to have specific volunteers to deal with exactly that, because we're expanding to 500 people, and that's, it's more than just me and one volunteer can handle. So we are working on like color coding. We color code everybody from badges and for volunteers, badges, shirts, whatever. And how to make that a more streamlined, obvious, upfront. I mean, we hang the harassment policy everywhere, but it needs to be out there and people need to really fully understand it. And I'm not nice, so I will enforce it. I'm not...
You're not
I'm
here
not
to
going
be
to
nice.
look the other way. I'm not there to be nice. Yep, I'm there to make sure people are decent human beings and that everyone feels safe.
It's very important. I'm not trying to make light, but it's very funny.
Yeah. I will not tolerate anything. So I watch everybody all the time. It's just kind of my personality in general. I'm always over aware of everything going on around me, which I think makes me kind of a good fit for that. But, it's a process. I want to make sure that there are other people who can do it as well. We have 24-hour gaming at the event, so we have to make sure there's somebody 24 hours to make sure that it's handled.
So for the local designer, like you have local designers going up there, and you're near Boston,
Yes.
which is kind of a big area for design. I met a bunch of these lovely women at Gen Con this year, actually, that are all kind of in that Boston area. Like,
Yeah.
did you just go to, like, there's that kind of Boston-y design collective of some sort. I can't remember the acronym, but did you go to them, or like how did you contact everyone?
There's the Game Makers Guilds. There's multiple
Something
Game
indie
Makers Guilds
something.
around. Oh, yeah. Okay, I actually just talked to them. Just recently did I start talking to them. Yes. Kevin, one of our organizers, is a local game designer himself, so he actually is a member to a lot of those things and just kind of sent it out to all of the groups. And here's our number of spots we have to fill. Here is what it entails. There's no like table fee or anything like that. Come play games with our audience for 2 hours. We will feature you on the website. I interview them. We post pictures. I push them ahead of time so that people understand what their game is and what they can play, because I want to make sure our designers are actually getting people to come play their games, like not just occupying space for 2 hours. And we tweet, we make an announcement, say when it's the shift change of who's coming up next and what you can play, and then just a really quick announcement over the microphone. And then I will tweet out at the change of the shift always who you can come play with next. Our designers tend to be busy the entire time, which is good. I don't like anybody just sitting at a table by themselves. So, and we've just reached out again through Twitter quite a bit. And Kevin has done the whole, he knows all of the different Game Makers Guild things, and he reached out to them initially. Our designer spots fill really quickly, because they are limited, and
oh, that's good. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah, right. I think we've had 12. We can take 12 designers at each event previously, and the spots fill really quickly.
And they got a lot of good games in of their prototypes.
Yeah, most of them. Well, most of them are actually are finished games. Some of them are prototypes. Jason Tegmeyer was at our last one from Button Shy. He ran a prototype for a game he was playtesting. I cannot remember the name of it offhand. But we also have like Mark Corsi, Game of 49. He came and ran that. And Chip Beauvoir. Oh, I'm totally butchering his name probably. Chroma Cubes, Chromacast, and Universal Rule. And a bunch of local ones. Bobby Fowler. I mean, like, everything from 10-minute games to, I think Jason's game he demoed ran, like, an hour. So he was able to run two complete games, start to finish. It worked well. They had fun. I like to see the designers doing well and people lining up at the table or waiting to see, like, people hovering, waiting for that game to end so they can play it. That's the best.
Yeah, it's always really nice when you feel like they're supporting the designers that you bring in.
Yeah, it's all about community. I mean, we're trying to build community in a positive way. So we're trying to very meticulously build and create a good community, the kind that I enjoy being in. So, and that my kids are safe around, in general. And it's definitely a community building thing to see the designers get the support.
Well, and you have 2 daughters. Do they
Yes.
attend the con?
They do, yeah. They have attended both. They will not be attending the multi-day as much. They will probably only be there one of the 3 days for my sanity. It's difficult to mom and run a convention.
I can't imagine.
Shocking. Your mind is probably exploding right now, but that's not the easiest task. My little one is only 7. She does great, but also she hits a wall at a certain point. She can stay there and play games for like 8 hours, but then she's done. And when she's done, she's done. So she needs to be out of the space. Or she'll just like wander around and knock stuff down. When she's tired, it's just she needs to go home. There's no trying to keep her beyond a point. And the big one is 12. She's fine. She could stay and play for 12 hours and be fine, but little one.
Once you do the multi-day like this, you might start seeing a kids' day show up. Like, that's a thing with cons that, like, one day turns into family day.
Yes, that is definitely a thing that we could potentially do. We're going to see how this one goes first. We are putting in a kids' corner. Oh. We're working on that, like, just a little group of tables with easy to learn, easy to grok kids' games, and we'll have a couple of volunteers helping out there to teach them and play with them. Not anything where you leave your kids, though, because that's a whole different kind of liability. I do not want any of that,
no.
right?
You do not need that.
That's a whole extra level of stress that is not a thing I'm going to do. But you can come and play these easy to grasp games with your children, and that's fine. We've had, some kids at each one, not only my own, but not a ton of kids so far.
But that's...
We had more... Yeah. Right, exactly. I mean, it's a lot.
Was one of the considerations you put on that you thought about was having it no kids? It's an 18 plus, or was that?
Not really, because 2/3 of us have children. So, and my kids go with me to. They went to Origins. They've gone with me to a lot of conventions.
Because I think BGG Con is 18 plus, right? You can't have kids there?
I think it's 14 plus at BGG, because Arabella's almost old enough to go to BGG, just not quite. Yeah, it's definitely a thing we considered, but I would like to, at least for now, make it family friendly. Yeah.
Yeah, even maybe like having a suggested time cutoff for kids, like at 10 p.m. or something.
Right.
I could see doing something like that, even if you're doing 24-hour gaming.
Right. Please don't have your children in the main gaming space at 3 a.m. We've all been to BGG. We know what happens
Right.
in the 24-hour gaming hall.
Right.
So yeah. That's a good idea. I might actually be needing to change that. Yeah. Poor Maurice. Yeah. Exactly. We know what happens in the 24-hour gaming at conventions, and that is probably not ideal for children at, say, 2 a.m.
Probably not ideal for most adults.
It's probably not. No. Yep. But we're going to do it.
Right?
Might not be our best choice, but it's a thing, and we all still do it. So there's that. Who needs sleep? Come on now, Jason.
No, sleep is overrated, especially for the first 4 days.
Exactly.
Then you try to play Food Chain Magnate on Sunday, and that just doesn't go
Oh my goodness.
To the point where I couldn't even count points on a cribbage can, so it was pretty bad.
Oh my god, it was so funny.
That sounds amazing. I'm sad I missed that.
Oh my goodness.
Kimberly, I finally got cribbage at BGG Con. I hadn't been able to pull it off before.
Hey,
So
I got to play cribbage at BGG too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because I met up with Jason and a couple other people, and we played some cribbage, and it was really funny because my friend Andrew was kind of hovering nearby, and he had sleep apparently, and he's just sitting there watching us, laughing as we're trying to count points.
Oh my god, it was horrible.
It was really funny.
Yeah.
We hit a point where I couldn't do anything. I think it was actually Saturday morning. We ended up in a quiet room, and it was just me and my friend Matt, and I pretty much fell asleep on the table. He was just setting up Heroes of Olympus. I think that's the name of the game. Just a 2-player, not too difficult game. I was falling asleep as he was setting it up. But also I woke up naturally. I didn't set the alarm. I woke up Saturday morning and was I guess I'm gonna do this thing. And then once I actually tried to do that thing, it didn't go well. Yeah.
Right?
Your body hits that point of exhaustion where it's nope. Yeah.
Well, and so Kimberly was one of my roommates at BGG Con, and we had one roommate and a half that was not feeling so well. So I think you and I both kind of avoided the room for the most part for a long.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah, no, I stayed out of the room as much as possible.
Because we had one that was always napping and one that wasn't feeling very well, and it was just I don't want to be a burden to anyone. I'm out.
Right.
Man.
I mean, I left one of the mornings without shoes.
Yeah.
I was I can't see anything. It's dark in here. Nobody else is awake. And thankfully Matt was awake, and I texted him, and he's just come eat breakfast in my room. It's a disaster. I mean, when there's a lot of people, it's great, but it's also, I was very nervous about waking people up and disrupting them, especially when one wasn't feeling well, that I was I can find one of my shoes. I can't find the other. My hair is wet. I'm wearing clothes. That's about as much as I've got right now.
So what I kept doing, I kept getting kind of I'd throw a couple clothes on, and then I'd come back at 1 p.m. and I'd actually shower and get dressed. That was my plan.
It's the way to do it. I mean, I went down and had breakfast and just in Matt's room, and then came back to get shoes because I'm I can't go anywhere. I don't have shoes.
Good thing it's all inside the hotel.
I know. I felt like a weirdo in the elevator without shoes even. I was oh God. But as I was trying to find them, I was waking people up. So at some point I was nope, leaving. I'll just be the shoeless girl in the hall. It's fine.
It'll be fine, right?
Yeah, all right.
It'll all work out. I look like a wet puppy dog and I have no shoes, but it's fine. Yeah. Yep. I took advantage of the go back and get ready later.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
It's a good system, I think. That was a
I
lot
think
of
that's a
people in one
thing
room,
that I'll
and
be
we made it
utilizing.
work somehow.
We did. Yeah.
We did the damn
It was a
thing.
good room. We did that damn thing. And we all survived.
I roomed with Jason Washburn and his son. His son came with us this first time of him going, Noah. And he,
Oh, I didn't know his son was there.
Yeah, Noah. Yeah, he was there.
Oh.
And he was helping at Game Link Game Booth for part of the day. Well, Saturday, because we got there Tuesday. And so by Saturday, Noah just felt like crap. He ended up crashing out in our room the whole day. And basically missed the whole day. Yeah, he can't bounce back on, I think maybe that was Friday, and bounce back Saturday or Sunday. One of those days. But yeah, he ended up, because I think he just burned himself out. Wasn't expecting the lack of sleep that happens the first few days, and then just got sick, and yeah. But I mean, he did good. It was fun, but he ended up for a full day pretty much out of it.
Poor guy.
I know, right?
It's tough. I only hit the out of it points for small. I mean, I had to go hide a couple of times, those
Right, yeah.
wind down, but nothing too major this time.
That's good. That's good.
I'm usually good for the sprint. I get there and I do the damn thing, and then Sunday, this time it happened on Sunday morning. At some point I just shut off. Just no more. I have no more in me. Sunday I was saying goodbye to all my friends and crying and I got nothing else left. That's it. Oh, Sunday. It was awful.
Sunday. And that convention letdown is a big thing.
Yeah.
As you're seeing everything empty and moving and being torn apart, it definitely is it can be a little bit sad and hard to watch.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, even with a one-day event, it's hard to watch them. It's whew, we did the thing, and now we have to tear all of this down, and it's still sad to see it all get, the library get carted away, and,
Sad.
It's tough. Yeah, exactly. It's a very real thing.
It really is. Well, we call it con drop. And
Con drop, there we go, that's good.
So, it usually doesn't hit me until I'm home, though, because normally I go see my sister for a couple days after BGG, so I kind of keep the happy going a couple more days. But this time it was I think it was that extra one day I stayed on, I came in on the Tuesday instead of the Wednesday, and that one extra day did me in this time.
Oh,
yeah.
That's too bad.
It just means that I need to be a little more careful with my sleep next time, because I don't sleep well, and you don't sleep well, and
No,
it was bad.
We were the no sleep bed. They were the bed that slept. Marguerite and I do not sleep.
Me and Kimberly were never there.
We were never there, or we slept 2 hours and we'd be up again.
Yeah.
We were bad. We're the two that didn't sleep. So at least it makes sense to have the two that don't sleep in the same bed.
This is true, yes.
I would have
the
just,
other two were super happy to sleep till 10. It was amazing.
I mean, and I envied that.
I do too. I wish.
I was I wish I could stay asleep. My body was still waking up at 8 o'clock, even if I went to bed at 4,
Yeah, naturally at home I wake up on the dot 6 o'clock every morning, so just there's nothing I can do about it.
Exactly. Yeah, I was happy then when the 2 days that I slept until 8, I was pretty pleased with that. So
yeah, I think I had one of those where I slept late. I don't remember what day it was, because I don't remember what day anything is at BGG.
No, me either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Does it all
it all
blend
bleeds
in?
together?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's just so much sleep deprivation that there's no way to remember exactly when anything was. I mean, I lost a shoe in our room, Marguerite. Come on now.
Well, there's just so many parts of it. You have the morning adventures and the afternoon adventures and the dinner adventure and the evening adventure, and there's just so
Exactly.
many. You can't remember what day anything was.
No.
People are always oh, remember that Saturday when blah blah? I'm no, I don't. Just tell me what game it
tell me
was or whatever.
Tell me the thing. Don't give me the day. I don't do well with that.
Oh man, and then so last question about game or the con.
Granite Game Summit.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I didn't ask, I meant to. How did you deal with the library? How did you do just a call out to publishers to donate, or did you all do a personal library that turned into kind of the Granite Game Summit library, or?
We actually we wanted no library initially and just a game share setup because there was another local convention that no longer exists. It got a little bit too big and they no longer wanted to do it, but they just had an open policy, if you don't want people to play your games, put them under the tables. If you want them to be played and shared, put them on top of the tables with you have a list and a number or a code, to mark your games, and then they go back on that specific table. That was all we planned to have for the first event. But very generous attendees donated like 140 games, I think, for the library.
Wow.
And then a bunch of other people wanted to donate games. And then I think I brought like 80 from my collection. And with that and the games that were shared, we had over 3,000 at the first event.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing.
It was a lot. Yeah.
That is a
There's a lot.
ton.
It was a ton of games. So many games. And I expect there to be considerably more. We are going to reach out to publishers and ask for donations this time too. We hadn't done it, but now that we have a sizable library of a few hundred games that are permanently the library games now, it seems like that's the next step.
Shoot me an email.
Oh, all right.
I'll get you a couple games of House of Borgia.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
yeah, anything.
I go to one local con called Sasquatch, and they do that library where just they provide maybe 200 games, but everyone else brings anywhere from like 2 to like I bring 20. And if you want them to be played, you put your name on them and you put them on top of the table. And if you don't, you leave them in the bags and you kind of put them under a table. And it works really well for those small cons, but as you get to that 500 person con, it's going to start getting more difficult.
Yep, I think we had 240 people at our last event, and no reported issue. We had one game that was misplaced after the first one, but I was able to connect who had taken the wrongs pretty quickly, so that was good. Again, having a good community and people within the board gaming community tend to use at least one form of social media about gaming. Like, that's how they found us. So we tweeted it, we Facebooked it, we put it on our BGG guild, and right away somebody was like, oh no, I have 2 copies of this game, I didn't mean to take it. And they drove it to the person's house. Oh, wow. So
I mean, people
it was very good.
They're not out to get people. There's no one out like, I wonder if I can steal the games out of this library.
Exactly.
No one does that.
We do say, like, don't bring your really rare stuff, though, because that makes me nervous. Like, if it can't be replaced, you probably shouldn't be lending it out.
That is probably a good call for most things that you lend out.
Exactly. Like, don't let that one out of your sight. Yeah.
Well, people have to be reminded that because you got a shiny, cool thing that you want to show off at the same time. So, yeah, that's definitely,
I know.
You know what I mean? So to remind people, do not bring your rares or your hard-to-find, not out-of-print games. You know, don't do it.
Keep them under the table, at least. Yeah. Because literally, I didn't see a single person look at anybody else's games under the table at any point. Like, people were really, really respectful of the above the table shared, under the table not shared.
That is cool. I never heard of that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a fairly common thing within smaller conventions that they do, so that you don't have to have a full library. The only problem with having a regular full library is then again it's more staff.
Storage too.
And storage, yeah. Kevin and I store at the library, so
storage.
Yeah, storing them. Right. The first time we split it in half. He took half. I took half. This time, because I drive a very small car. So it was literally like, I can barely see out of any of the windows. Because I've got like 200 games in my car and an easel.
Where were the pictures of that, Kimberly?
Oh my gosh, it was terrible. My friend had to like, different people volunteered and they were like loading my car up for me and it's great. And then my friend Tommy was like, no, you're going to die. These things are going to hit you the first time you slam on the brakes. You hit your brakes a little bit. This is going to thwam you in the head. Like, who packed this? So he like unpacked and repacked everything for me at 1:00 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
To make sure I wasn't going to die on my way home. It was very sweet. And as you can see, I did not die.
You did it.
Still alive. Did not die from a game avalanche while driving. He repacked the car much better for me, but that was kind of like okay, next time I'm not taking this much because I just can't take this much in my tiny car. So I let Kevin take more this time, which is fine.
Yeah.
We both have space to store them, so it worked out okay.
You people that live in your towns without the horrible pricing like Seattle.
And we have closets. It's weird.
There's no such thing as enough space to house a library in Seattle.
No, I agree with that. Yeah. I mean, my house in Ballard was 800 square feet, so...
I know exactly what house your house was.
No, I mean my actual house was 800
your, like,
square feet.
actual house? Oh, wow.
Yeah, our actual house on 25th was 800 square feet. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We had
I think
one
my
closet.
apartment might be bigger than that, Kimberly.
Your apartment is probably bigger than that. Our house was so tiny.
Oh my gosh.
There's no way we could have stored a library of games.
No.
We had a table. Woohoo!
Oh, man. Okay, so now's the time in the podcast where we have to decide. We're going to talk Rogue One. Are we talking spoilers or not?
Oh.
My vote is that we do spoilers, and then if people don't want to listen, they should just forward now.
I mean, I feel like everybody should have a general basic idea of what happens in Rogue One, right? Like, there's not a ton to spoil. There's some, don't get me wrong.
There's
some
a couple
stuff.
The
major-
thing I want to talk about is Spoiler City, so it's the only one.
Okay. All right, let's spoil it.
I will
Okay.
make a note here that I will throw in an extra edit piece that says, beyond this point is Spoiler City. Do not listen until
Spoilers.
after seeing Rogue One.
Population 3.
Right?
City.
This is your final warning. We will be entering Spoiler City for Rogue One.
Well, and we can put the show notes with a timestamp past this when we talk about anything else. But yes, we will be talking as if you have seen Rogue One. That is where we're at.
Yes.
Now. Here's the thing. So both of you have seen it. You both have seen it twice now, and I've only seen it once. I'm kind of jealous.
So I just saw it today, actually, for the second time.
Oh my gosh. So I guess I want first impressions. Jason, what was your first impression of it?
I loved it. It's up there in the top 2 or 3 Star Wars movies for me, and up there in probably the top 10 movies maybe of all time. Maybe.
Wow.
Gotta watch, yeah.
Wow.
I'll have to watch it a couple more times just to see it if that longevity.
That is
but
really high praise. Yeah.
It really hit on, Force Awakens hit on nostalgia for me because, it was pretty much a rip-off of New Hope, but
Yeah.
like I think Megan and I talked before, it felt like it was necessary to kind of wipe the slate. Disney felt it necessary.
Oh my goodness, it absolutely did. It was like that reset button that every fan needed.
So all the, yes, it's a New Hope, yes, it's the same, blah, blah, blah. There's tons of similarities, so I give it the pass. I've watched it once. I have it on Blu-ray. I watched it once in the theater, and I've watched it once on Blu-ray after I got my new speakers, because, that's like a must. So I enjoyed it. It's not one I think I'd watch over and over again. Rogue One,
Okay.
I've already seen it twice in the theater, and I enjoyed it more the second time, actually, than I did the first.
Oh, I did too.
Yeah.
Stop that. Now I'm jealous. It was fine the first time. It was fine.
Yeah, well, I think the second time, though, as a Star Wars fan, I enjoyed it as a war movie, because it basically is a war movie in the Star Wars universe.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So I enjoyed it but then going back and watching it a second time, I didn't have to focus on the plot, on the characters. They were all new, or they were all familiar, so I could really enjoy the world that it was set in and all the intricacies of the tie-ins and trying to catch the tie-ins and still enjoying the plot and still being moved by the performances. I focused more on the music because honestly, I wasn't sure if I was going to like the music, because if I recall, this is the first Star Wars movie John Williams did not do the music to.
Absolutely, you're right. Mm-hmm.
It's hit on my Star Wars fandom hard.
Hey. That's not a bad thing.
So you've only seen it once, Maggie, and you just saw it a week ago?
Yeah, I saw it. I had moved on Saturday, so I went to see it on Sunday.
So as a Trekkie who enjoys Star Trek more than Star Wars, what is your take on the new Star Wars Rogue One?
So, and it should be noted that I didn't see any of the original 3 in the theater. I only saw them on, like, VHS later, much later.
Oh yeah, me too.
And I saw episodes 1, 2, and 3, I think all in the theater at some point. So
those don't count.
this is but this is the only time I've seen a non-prequel Star Wars in the theater. Like I wouldn't consider this one of the prequels because it was like just a very different take and it was more of a lead up. I thought they did so many cool fan service things. Like anything to do with Vader in these movies was fan service at this point. Like they gave him a force choke scene. They gave him like the badass nothing will touch me scene. Come now.
Yeah.
He just, I'm sorry, you're shooting at me. Let me just casually wave my lightsaber around. Everything's gonna be fine. But then, and I know I've told this to friends, so I apologize if any of them are listening, and I already said this, but they just have this weird fetish now for showing Vader without the mask, right? They want to show him.
Yeah.
So this time they put him in a tank, a very weird foggy tank. I just was like, why is there fog? I don't understand why the temperature of this water is different than the temperature of this room. I'm not understanding. So that part...
It's a bacta tank. So it's like bacteria that makes you stay young or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but why is there fog?
I'm sure that's it.
Does the bacta like evaporate in the air as it hits it or something and create steam? I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. I got nothing for you. I'm just throwing it out there.
I have no idea either. It took me a second to realize that was even what was happening. I was like, who the hell is in the tank?
Okay.
Like, what is... And then I'm like, okay.
I have one piece of praise, but first I have to rip this part of the movie absolutely effing drive me crazy. I hate when they replace humans with CGI characters in the same scene as other humans.
Yes.
Oh my effing F. No.
I figured we'd get our opening statements of the movies, but I was going to go into that specifically because it's something that I'm still not sold on.
I didn't realize how much I disliked CGI until that very last scene in the movie.
Oh, no.
And I literally
Yes.
no.
Yeah.
For me it was, what is his name? He's the older gentleman. Yeah,
Tarkin.
So they put him in multiple scenes, gave him crap tons of lines, and put him against real humans so you can see like the real shadows on their face and the real whiskers, and then they give you the CGI like back and forth. It was just so off-putting to me. If there was one thing that would make me crawl out of my skin, that's it.
Yeah, CGI is it's an interesting take. Tarkin didn't bother me quite as much for whatever reason.
Weird.
Leia killed me. I couldn't, I was like, no, it was so unnecessary. That was the thing that really killed me. It was like, just don't have her turn around.
Just don't.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to turn around.
Yeah.
It could have just been the back of somebody's head, and they could have even delivered a line. She didn't need to turn around. There was no need to see the CGI creepiness. Like,
well, it was almost like they pulled the animation from like the Rebels or something. It wasn't. Tarkin, they worked so hard trying to make it realistic. I felt like that shot of Princess Leia, they didn't even work. Her
eyes were so anime big. Like, it was just so...
Yeah. It was.
well, that's exactly it. That is, she looked more, animated than she did actually human.
Yeah.
And it was just really entirely unnecessary. They could have not done any of that. Everybody knew what it was. I mean, they showed the back of the robe and you see the hair. Everybody knows who that is.
That was fine. And they have access to R2 and C-3PO. They could have easily, like, incorporated them into more nostalgia scenes, but they gave them that, like, one really hokey fourth wall breaking line, and that was it.
And that was all.
Yeah. And then you see the blockade runner take off. So if you're a Star Wars fan, you know that's what ship she's on. That's the exact ship she gets tacked in at the beginning of A New Hope. So her turning around didn't need to happen.
It was so unnecessary.
Yeah.
I said very quietly, no. Don't do it.
Going back to the Tarkin thing, I was seriously surprised at how much screen time he actually had.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And again, why? That was not necessary either.
Did that actor have it in his will, like that he needed that? That was written into a writer at some point.
A minimum 15 minutes of face-on airtime. well after I've died.
I like the storyline that they made him greedy and gave him gave Tarkin more backstory on the character. But if you're going to do that, then don't do the CGI part. But if you're going to give him a token one-liner, which is what I was expecting because I knew that they were doing Peter Cushing, who's been dead for 22 years,
He's been dead for a long time.
Yeah, that's a long time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, no, they should have just found somebody to do the voice, so they couldn't find somebody that kind of looked like him.
Oh, I'm sure. And with the makeup effects and a little bit of After Effect, I feel confident that that's a thing that could have happened. But,
exactly.
Or they could have given that same plot line to anybody else because this is a made-up
Tarkin
story.
is the head of the Death Star in A New Hope, so if they were going to do that subtext, subplot, it would have to be with him. But they could have left it out.
They could have minimized it, though. They could have cut. They could have streamlined it, made it a little bit.
But it was like
less.
a bad internet meme. It was like a Funny or Die something because it was just, and he's still there and he's talking.
Yeah. It actually took me the second scene to realize that it was. I was like, wait, no, this is CGI, isn't it?
Oh, really? Because I see it immediately. There's something about CGI that gets me, and you can tell it gets under my skin. I just can't handle it. I just want to rip things away.
Yeah.
Well, especially to do CGI dinosaurs and CGI robots.
Different.
It's different
That's
than trying
totally
to do
different.
CGI.
I can tell you the first movie that really bugged me about it, and this was after Jim Carrey and the Mask. It was Spider-Man 3. In Spider-Man 3, they kept bouncing it back and forth between shots of the person in the suit with the CGI. Whenever the Spider-Man was moving, they would switch it to CGI really fast. It was like whiplash for me. It was horrible.
Amazing.
Can't stand it.
I have not seen that, but oh my god, my cat is gonna walk across my keyboard because of course she is.
Did you
Get
say
down.
amazing on purpose because it was Spider-Man, or was that just a thing?
No, I just say that all the time. Sorry. I'm sorry. No.
Was this a pun or was this just unintended?
It was not a pun.
Spider cat.
Yep, she just almost stepped on my mouse, which is hovering on my record thing on my GarageBand. So I was
good.
thankfully. And now GarageBand is behind the Google. We're good.
But now we can get down to the happy. Are you ready?
Yes.
Alan Tudyk.
Yep.
Yes.
Holy moly.
I'm kind of getting tired of the robots always being the comedian part of the Star Wars universe, but at the same time, it works. So
oh my god, it was so good.
Yeah. So why change it? And so I totally get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we all are a little sick of the robots always being the focus. Everyone's sick of that. But this was so well done.
It was really well done.
I mean, his scene where he's getting shot, that was perfect. I wanted that to be the whole movie, that 5-minute sequence. It was so perfect. Oh.
I had to go through the whole before taking my daughter. You understand that none of these people are in the next one, right? So do you know what that means? That's what you understand what happens before we go into the movie. Let's verify that you're not going to be just shocked.
That was the first thing I texted to my sister. I was like, so this is not a Star Wars for the children's.
Right.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, maybe for more 10 and up, I would say, but no, it is
She's
definitely
12,
not episodes 1, 2, and 3.
No.
This is another Goonie love story with friggin' Hayden Christensen. This is no, everybody's gonna die. Everybody.
Yes. I'm just so grateful there was no love story, too. That was a big thing for me. I was like, don't do it. Don't make them make out.
We were all waiting for it, too. We were all just waiting.
We're all bracing ourselves going, don't you dare.
Don't you do it. Don't you fucking do it.
That is not what this is about. Do not even.
Although, I will say the Jimmy Smits cameo, I'm going to call it a cameo because it was hilarious.
It was a cameo. Yeah.
I was at dinner last night and someone was calling it, I'm going to go back to Alderaan, the never blows up. And I was just like, yeah, that's the one. Oh,
yeah. It's like, no, don't go there. Don't
do it. Jimmy Smits, don't go behind the door.
Like watching a horror movie. Don't go in there.
You know he's in there.
Poor Jimmy Smits. You can't save him. I'm sorry.
going into this, did both of you realize that all the characters were going to be killed by the end of it?
Yes.
Even though you know that they're not in A New Hope.
Right.
So I hadn't really, intellectually, I hadn't really put it all together. Because I hadn't seen a teaser or trailer for Rogue One. I did not watch a single something. So I actually didn't quite know where... I knew it fit into the storyline that was already existing, but I didn't know where.
Oh, yo,
So you went in completely fresh. Wow,
Nice.
yeah.
Well,
That's the way to do it.
when I figured it out was when they introduced Vader into the story, because the age of Vader tells you where you are in the what is the? It's not a trilogy because it's 7 movies. What is that word? Septology?
I'm just gonna call it a series.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I just as soon as they introduced Vader, I can time it, but until that point, I wasn't actually sure where I was.
Oh, so the Yavin 4 base and all that didn't give
Didn't
up.
trigger
I'm
it.
not
Right.
that into Star Wars, Jason.
Whatever.
But you figured it out. That's the key thing. I realized before I went in that everybody would die. I still held out hope that K2SO would not die.
Why did he have to die? I don't understand.
I was like, come on, he's a robot. This is fine. They can keep a robot. Nobody's going to notice.
Well, the one nice thing is that you can keep that robot. You can reprogram him. You can fix him later. He could come back.
Right.
He's not
He
dead.
can.
He's fine.
That's right.
His parts are a little scattered, so you'd have to do a little bit of hunting.
That's fine. That's fine. This is la 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 la. Oh.
I have a print coming that's K2 playing with a banta and a firefly line across the bottom. It's really funny. I'm so excited about it.
So what's kind of funny is that I didn't even really think about it going into it. I knew where it was. I knew where it was going to land in the time series and everything. I didn't even think about them not living because it's a Disney company. Everybody lives happily ever after, right?
No, yeah.
So I just figured, they'll have them live, and they went off somewhere else while A New Hope happened. So I hate to say pleasantly surprised.
No, that is absolutely.
Jason, that's horrible.
Is that horrible? Or?
It's not horrible. It's good because they're doing the service that needed to be done.
Exactly. It's like
they're doing the story justice.
yeah, when it got they're gonna kill them too. Oh my goodness!
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, even though knowing that there were nowhere in sight of the next 20 movies, whenever those all came out, whenever those all come out,
Exactly.
I was still surprised and sad, but joyously surprised that.
No, I mean, I think that it did it eloquently.
Yeah.
It shows you the sacrifice that needed to be made in order for the rebellion. It was eloquently done.
Yes. Yeah.
How much was lost and how much was sacrificed. I think it was really eloquently and well done. So I think it was necessary, personally.
Yeah.
In order to really truly convey that backstory, I think it was necessary.
I mean, it was beautifully done. Yeah, no, beautifully done.
Yes.
Right.
Watching it the second time, I realized it was kind of cool realizing the order that people were killed in of the main cast was pretty much in order exactly from their importance in the storyline. The general got killed first. Well, the general got killed first in the X-Wing, but it wasn't like a big hoopla. He was in the X-Wing. He was one of the ones that got shut down. They're like, the general's down. And then, the movie continues, and then it went in order of the robot,
Right.
the monk, can't think of their names.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with names. In
I
general,
know, so am I. I've only watched
Yep,
it twice. I got like 20 more viewings before I
You
get the
just
names
saw
right.
it today, though. So if any of us are going to have the names, come on now.
I was gonna say because
I caught about 3/4 of the way. It's like, oh wow, they kind of went in order of importance up to the last 2 main characters, and they killed the 2 main characters at the same time. Which once you kind of realize that, you're like, oh wow, makes it even.
Yeah, that scene was
tidier.
good.
Yeah,
It was a good scene.
Right.
Once I got past the nerves of, oh my god, don't make them make out now.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, we were all just waiting for it, right? Hold some hands, make out.
Right. A hug seems good. A hug I can handle. I was like, don't do the thing. Once I realized they weren't going to, it was definitely,
Now
it made it more enjoyable.
I'll ask to both of you, because I noticed this in my first viewing, but no one I've asked has noticed it. So when the blind man first comes out and he's fighting, like in one of the earliest scenes, did you notice that he kicked sand into a stormtrooper's eyes and the stormtrooper, like, reacted as if the sand could hit his eyes?
Yes, I did.
I noticed that too. I thought that was silly.
But the sand, it hits the helmet.
It hits the helmet, yeah. The stormtroopers like to overreact. That's kind of their thing, isn't it?
It just got
They can't
underneath
shoot
the
and they
lens, in
overreact.
between the breathing.
That's what everyone's been saying, is that it went to the neck and then it got, like, sucked into the air system.
Made him really itchy for a second.
Or the gentleman or gentle lady wearing the suit just kind of wigged out a little bit. I don't know.
Although I did notice that they went back to kind of your, like, stormtrooper that can't shoot to save their life kind of mode. Like, that was, like, a funny joke.
Yes,
it was nice.
Yes.
Oh,
That's a fan service. I mean, they kind of have to do that
that's
now.
because they're humans. They're not clones yet.
Right.
Oh, is that what...
Or is it vice
They're
versa?
still human. Yeah.
I don't know. So the Tarkin, the CGI,
Yeah.
the music. I mean,
Music
the
was
overall
good.
plot and story. It's funny that they're calling it a standalone movie, even though it's not really.
Oh, it's definitely no. Yeah, I was surprised to see that actually. That there's definitely story that you need to know. I think.
Do you? That'd be.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious. Well, all
I
three of
want
us
that
have
review to
watched all
come
of them.
out. Hey, I've never seen a Star Wars, so I saw Rogue One. That's what I want.
Right.
Right.
Well, I mean, we took my dad, who has seen Star Wars, kind of,
Yeah.
but not really. Like, we took him to see Force Awakens because he was here last Christmas too, and that was our second viewing of that. He gets the second viewing of the Star Wars at Christmas now. It's a tradition.
You'll get to do it again
But-
next year.
Exactly. He hadn't really ever done the Star Wars thing. So he definitely was less interested in this one because he didn't know as much.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, it clearly didn't hit all the buttons. Like, he really enjoyed Force Awakens because he could relate that one a little bit better, I think, and he didn't seem to enjoy Rogue One at all.
Well, there isn't a lot
more
of
lost.
character setup in this movie.
Exactly, yeah. And that's what the benefit of seeing it a second time. I went in, because the first time it was a little bit more like, okay, but who are these people? Like, I still enjoyed it, don't get me wrong, but the second time it was like, okay, I understand who the characters are now, and I can enjoy the plot better. Yeah, but as a person who is not a big Star Wars fan or knowing much of it, he did not seem to enjoy Rogue One much.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is super interesting, because I don't think I know anyone that would have that perspective, because I live in the middle of Nerd Central, so I just don't, like, we don't have that.
I was 29 the first time I saw Star Wars, so...
I was probably around there. I didn't see it as a kid at all.
Wow.
No, me either.
So,
Yeah,
like...
You want to say how old I was when I first saw Star Wars? So we'll just bypass that one real quick.
We'll just skim beyond it. I think that I'm slightly the wrong age. I'm too young, but not like massively. But I'm a little bit too young to have seen it when it was like hot and popular. My sister, who's 8 years older, it was more her generation, but she wasn't into it, and my parents had no interest. And then everybody had seen it, right? Like that's kind of a thing. I was the only one who hadn't seen it, and eventually it was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it, even though I know all of the things, right? I mean, I went into Star Wars knowing
Luke
the
was
entire
the son.
right.
Like, I had the exact same experience, and I had seen Spaceballs before I saw Star Wars.
Me too. I've seen Spaceballs so many
I've
times.
seen Spaceballs so many times. Well,
It's just so good.
it's so funny, but it helps you kind of like understand
Map it
what's
out.
going on.
Yeah.
Well, and because we as a family didn't watch those, but I watched the Star Trek movies like over and over again. So I just figured like Star Wars was the crappy version of Star Trek, and I just never like got into it. Later, it took people going, but really though, you need to watch these things like it's a cultural phenomenon.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay. Well, it
Have
is.
to
it
actually
is.
do the thing.
Yeah.
It's shocking, like how often it came up. Right? Did you experience that? There would be it happened frequently where people would be like, "Oh my God, how have you not seen Star Wars.
Luckily, before I moved to Seattle, there were 0 nerds in my life. Like, I lived in California. I didn't know what nerds were. I didn't realize I was one. I moved up here, and I was like, oh, games and stuff and things. Oh, good. But no, in California, I worked in food service, and, like, no one talked about that kind of stuff.
See, and I'm from Seattle, so it was a frequent, like, how have you not seen Star Wars? It was always a thing, but, like, nobody ever really wanted to experience it with me for the first time.
That's so
like that. It was just like this weird, like, well, I don't want to watch it with you if you've never seen it before. And I'm like, you could just not be a jerk and talk over it.
See, and as me being me, I would get kind of my heels dug in and be like, no, I'm not going to watch it just because you said you had to. Like, just...
Right.
I don't have to do nothing.
Well, I think that's how I got to be 29 and still had not seen it. Like, I think that there was a good chunk of, like, my early adulthood where I was like, no, screw you. I don't have to watch it. But
right.
Yeah. It's not
the
a
rebel,
thing.
yeah. I don't have to see that. I already know it.
I'm a damn adult. I know what the plot line is.
I don't know. I'd still almost rather watch Spaceballs than miss Star Wars.
I mean, Spaceballs is pretty phenomenal. Come on now.
Spaceballs is awesome.
See, yeah.
So funny.
It's so good. Yeah. We love you, Rogue One, but Spaceballs.
But Spaceballs. Yeah. It's Comb the Desert, and it's giant comb. Like, what more do you want?
Whenever they re-released the original 4, 5, and 6,
yeah,
back into the theaters, I was super excited because that allowed me to share it with both of my kids. At that time, they were probably 7, 8-ish, I think, when they did that. But old enough that they obviously went and appreciate it. I mean, neither one of them are big into it like I am.
Right.
I mean, but my son, when we went today, my son went with us and a couple friends and Sonia. So my daughter had to work, so we went to the matinee. But he knows and he goes and he enjoys it, but he's not big into that stuff. But that was exciting at that point when they got released with the special editions, even though I don't agree with all the changes they did, but whatever, Lucas.
Right.
We won't even go into that. That's a whole different podcast topic.
That's that you need your own segment just for that.
Right, yeah. But that was exciting and a lot of fun. And the fact that they still want to watch it, and even though they're not hugely in, but on Facebook and stuff, they're always sharing stuff with me that are Star Wars related and stuff. So that's
cute. That's cute. Yeah, it's a thing you can still enjoy together, whether they're as into it or not.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And that's nice. Yeah. And my 12-year-old enjoys it. The little one enjoys some of it, but not all of it. It's a little bit more hit and miss. I decided that Rogue One was too morose, so we opted to go while she was at school.
That makes sense. Like, it is morose. Like, it's really sad and, like, lots of dead.
I think she would have been okay with the people. I think she would have been pretty bummed about K2.
K2, that scene was amazing, but it was sad.
It was so sad.
And they let him be sad, which is kind of nice. Like, they let him have his moment.
Right.
But wow, was that good. Yeah.
It was delivered really well. But, yeah, I think that would have been just a little bit too much for her, probably. So.
I'm interested to see what it would look like before all the reshoots and rehashes and whatnot, because there's a lot of the original trailer that those shots were not
in
used.
The movie.
Yes. And I noticed that the first time watching it.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good point, because I haven't seen any of the trailers. I can go back and watch them now.
Yes. Go watch the trailers. Like, half of what is in the trailers is not in the movies. It was really kind of phenomenally weird. Like, there were so many things that didn't happen. Like, but they cut out.
And you knew exactly what scenes they were pulled from, though.
Right.
You know, from the location shots of those trailer sequences. So you knew, oh, wow, that...
Okay.
So go back and watch the trailers, Maggie, because you'll be like, absolutely. Wait, I don't remember that. Wait, I don't remember that. That didn't happen. And there's a ton of them, especially in the original trailer.
Right? I think it's like half of that first trailer. None of that. It was a shocking amount of stuff that didn't happen in the movies, but it was still okay. Like, sometimes that really peeves me, like, when you see a trailer for a movie and it's like, that scene didn't exist. It didn't bother me as much in this, so I got to give him some credit there. I did notice it, though.
Yeah, I think that's because we are, or at least I already knew from the newscast and blah, 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 that there was a bunch of reshoots and had to be a bunch of re-edits. So when I noticed that, oh, yeah. So it's like, oh, they took that out. Oh, they took that out. Oh, they took that out. So, wow. Well, they must have reshot a lot. Crap.
Yeah, they must have.
Good, because it was good. So I'm glad they
It was
did.
good.
Yeah.
Whatever they did, it worked. That's the key thing, right?
Yeah, it was a pretty good, fun movie, even for someone who's not super, super into them. Like, I like them just fine, but I'm not super into them, and I thought it was really fun.
Good.
I would imagine there were lots of little jokes I probably didn't get that were, like, just put in there for Uber fans. But,
Right.
well, I always assume that's
Those
going to happen.
damn geeks.
Damn geeks just ruining
Pretty much.
everything.
I mean, I know we turned the video off, but we're definitely looking at you right now, Jason.
I am, and I'm judging just a little.
Yeah. But out of good judgment, of course.
Okay,
And-
well, since we're on that topic, Kimberly, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Oh, I know nothing about Star Trek. I have seen one movie, and that is it.
That's so fun, though. You have so much to watch.
I have
later.
not seen any of the Star Trek stuff. And again, that comes from the growing up in Seattle where everybody was like, you have to be into the thing. And I was always very like, nope,
Yeah, I
you do
don't
you. That made me so much more against things that it did make me want to
Right.
do them. So
I would completely agree, but I would say that at some point, if you felt like it, some Star Trek
Yeah.
is really fun. Like,
I plan to make that a thing at some point in time.
It's not as fun as
so
Star
good.
Wars, so it's okay.
But I can just watch movies, right? I don't have to watch the show.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I think
no,
that's-
you have
no.
to watch. No, you got to watch the shows, not the movies.
No, you gotta watch the
No.
movies first. Movies first is the way to be. Jason,
Okay.
having Spock with the, like, colorful euphemisms and, like, the giant whales, that's gonna be so much better for her before she has context.
See?
Oh, well,
Yes.
yeah, but I was going to say, if you're going to go one or the other, that you have to watch the show.
I would do
or
movies
have
over
to watch
show.
movies.
Movies over show, hands
No
down.
way. Really?
Yep.
Movies over show. You say show over movies. I'm more likely to sit down and watch movies than I am to watch the show.
All right.
Well, and
But
and
that's also one of the reasons I haven't seen it is because I feel like I've always felt like I needed to do both, and I just don't.
No.
That's
No.
never gonna happen.
No.
And what I can say, and this is blasphemy, let me tell you, I'm about to get kicked out of the fan club.
Oh.
You can skip the original show. You can skip all of the Kirk.
Oh.
Yep, you can do it.
Yep, you're in
'Cause-
trouble for that.
Well, because if you didn't watch it originally and you didn't see it before now, there is
Nope.
absolutely no reason to go back and watch it. I will tell you that
I
right
would
now.
disagree with that.
You get
feel like-
Nimoy and you get Forrest Whitaker. You get like, or not Forrest Whitaker. Oh my gosh, my
to
poor
Rogue
brain
One now.
is so gone.
Yep.
But you get the original cast, but you get the original plots, and they're
Right.
sexist and horrible. All of them, every last
Yes.
one. I know
Wrath
there
of
was
Khan.
like, what's that?
Wrath of Khan. That would.
No, not
That'd
the
be-
movies. We're talking show now.
Right. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna skip anything, you're gonna skip the original shows with the original cast, which sucks. But they were really bad.
No, they.
Oh, some of them were
There's
bad.
some.
Oh,
there's-
I'm sure from a sexist standpoint they are. I have that problem with Star Wars, again, being 29 when I saw it for the first time.
Oh my gosh,
I
watching Mark
Some
Hamill try and
serious
act,
issue with that.
like it's just,
Oh, no,
my
yeah.
God, I cannot act. Poor guy.
And I like him as a person, I think. But
too.
mostly I wanted to murder him.
I like him as a person, as an animated Joker. That's about it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, no, I literally watching the Star Wars for the first time, I was like, I know he doesn't die, but can we kill him?
Could just get rid of him already, please. Well, and that's how
Can
it is. Original
somebody kill
Kirk.
him?
I just want to kill Kirk. I like the rest of the cast.
Yeah.
I just don't want to deal with William Shatner ever again in my life.
I think that
once.
seems reasonable. Yeah. There are these pitfalls of not consuming these things until you're a full-grown adult.
Right,
And
who
watching them
appreciates good
later.
acting.
Right. It's
cadence.
tough to go back and not see the things. Like I don't
like,
have that.
Star Wars has got the Come on. I love Luke Skywalker, but Mark Hamill's whininess as Luke Skywalker is
Oh my
not the
God.
best acting either.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, Mark Hamill cannot
Right.
act out of anything at all.
Does beat
No.
Christian Hayden's acting in those
Well,
movies, though.
yeah.
Hayden
Yes,
Christensen.
Yeah.
Did you say-
Well, and even when you get someone like friggin' Han, he's not doing his best either. Harrison Ford is not
No.
delivering like the the performance of his life. They just kind of got by.
Well, and I kind of didn't like Han for the pushy sexism. Yeah. The sexist.
He's just a douche.
Let me do this thing anyhow.
But
you said no, but I'm gonna do it anyhow.
Yeah, but I don't want to give screen time to douchebags. I just don't want to hear about it.
It was weird for me to see that. Like, I've always heard the love story aspect of Star Wars, and like that grips a lot of other people. And I was like, no, he's an asshole. Like, that didn't. At no point did I see that and think like, swoon. I was like, no, she clearly said no, and you kind of held her to a wall and kissed her anyhow.
That's the one nice thing when you get to like Force Awakens or even the prequels, is that the love stories are always a little bit closer to consensual.
Yes. Right.
Like the Han, Leia, Luke thing is all bad and weird.
Yes.
Like, it's all bad.
It's weird to see that as an adult, especially with, I have 2 little girls, so, I can't not see that side of it, unfortunately. I mean, it's just, yeah. I think that's the thing that I wouldn't have noticed 10 years ago even, but now I cringed a little seeing that. So, it matters. I still enjoy them, but it didn't hit me the same way it would hit other people, I think, because I was so old when I saw it.
All right.
And a totally different mindset, so.
So we went on the longest Star Wars tangent here.
Yeah.
But
Chewbacca's the best.
Well, I was going to ask. So Kimberly.
Yes,
no
that's
Wookiees,
my name. Mm-hmm.
No Ewoks. Where does this land for you? Like, have you ranked it?
There are no furry friends, I know.
There are 0 Wookiees in this.
It's very sad for me.
The Wookiees were totally part of the story by this point, and I'm disappointed I didn't get any.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm going to be a little bit sad there are no Wookiees. That's kind of my thing. I still enjoyed it quite a bit.
I didn't even notice that now that you
there were.
Yeah.
That's like the first thing I noticed.
I was just sitting there thinking about it. There isn't. We've got squid people.
Nope.
But we have no Wookiees.
No Wookiee.
You got those 2 DBs from the bar, like, they get the cameo, but no Wookiees?
They did get a cameo.
0 Wookiees?
Not even like a furry arm, just
Not even one sitting around in a market stall somewhere. They went through several markets.
They did. They could have thrown a Wookiee in for my sake. I still really enjoyed Rogue One, though.
Kashyyyk is a long ways away from the rest of the world. So.
Yeah.
Yes, but the Wookiees did have people out in the world sometimes.
Come on now. They're Wookiees. I would give this one, like, middle of the pack for me. I don't have them ranked in order. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I'm not
middle
quite
of the
that
pack
level
is
of fanatic.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think middle of the pack. I appreciated what it did. I appreciate that there's a strong female lead and there was no love story. It's probably just north of middle of the pack.
Okay. Jason, where's it at for you?
Oh, I said earlier, but
I know.
Yeah, it's up there. It is definitely top 3. I've seen several people in the board game community claim that they like it more than Empire Strikes Back. I don't think it quite reaches that level for me.
Yeah, I have too.
Yeah, well, Empire Strikes Back's my favorite by far, especially of the Star Wars movies. But it's up there close. Top 3 easily.
And for me, I'm going to put it this way. I don't rank them because when I watch one of them, I have to watch all of them. It's just how it is with series for me.
Yeah.
So it made it into the series. And I can skip probably number 2. So, like, there's things I'm skipping in there. But I will watch it in sequence with the rest of the movies at this point.
Okay.
Fair enough.
That's not bad.
Yes.
Well,
I'll skip 1, 2, and through.
Single story.
It's kind of nice that I actually have a movie that to actually start the series on as opposed to A New Hope, because the other 3 don't matter. They don't exist anyways, so.
I would at least watch number 3 of those. Plus, I have a thing for Natalie Portman, so it's fine.
Well, yeah.
But I liked her better in Black Swan than I did in any one of those 3 movies, so.
I did not like Black Swan at all.
You
not
didn't?
even a little.
I have not seen it.
It
I have
so
not seen
creepy.
it.
It's not creepy. It's boring. Oh my god,
It
boring.
is not boring.
I know the basis of the movie, but I have not seen it.
It's the worst.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody describe it as boring. Huh.
I would watch Saving Sarah Marshall 16 times before I'd watch Black Swan again.
Wow.
Because
She really did not like Black Swan.
Saving Sarah Marshall with Kristen Bell and Mila Kunis. That's a movie. That's high comedy people. Like, okay, so last topic, and we're north of an hour 10, so we're probably wrapping up soon. But I just want to talk a little bit about the end of the year kind of Kickstarter crash. I have gotten at least 10 games in the last 2 weeks, if not more, and I'm expecting one I really, really, really want. And I just wanted to talk about how that works every year, where all the games start coming in right before Chinese New Year. And so you start just seeing them all at the end of the year.
I didn't realize that was how it lined up.
Oh, yeah. Chinese New Year happens at the beginning of every year. So if games don't get through production by middle of the year or end of the year, depending on what manufacturer it is, they're just not going to get to the States in time.
Huh. That makes sense. I mean, that entirely makes sense. I just didn't realize that was the basis. That's good to know.
That might not be the basis, but it does seem to be how it works.
It seems to coincide, at least.
It does definitely seem to come in waves. Yes, that's for sure.
Because Chinese New Year is the beginning of the year, and it's about a month. Like, it's long.
Right. It's long,
and nothing happens during that time, so it messes with production, it messes with shipping, it messes with everything. It's kind of amazing, actually.
House of Borgia should be hitting backers any day now.
Nice.
Backers should be receiving them anytime now.
So exciting. I'm sure Wash is through the roof.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're gearing up for King's Champion, so in February, maybe March.
Very nice.
So that'd be very nice.
That's soon. Yeah.
I got a pre-production copy of Villages of Valeria for review by Daily Magic Games. I've played several times. It's one of the few games since BGG Con I've actually got to play. Well, it sucks when your gaming partner's down for a month.
No,
So
that definitely
Villages of
impacts
Valeria
it.
is like kind of similar to almost like a Race for the Galaxy, where you kind of choose a thing and everyone gets a stuff. It was interesting. I played it during Extra Life.
Yeah, Race for Galaxy, Puerto Rico-ish, Tiny Epic Galaxy-ish, whatever you want to. Yeah, was that action selection you would call it? Is that what it?
I mean, it is action selection. I just it's hard to describe that particular type of action selection without calling it Race or Puerto Rico.
Yeah, it is, and I've enjoyed it. I'm glad I backed it. So I will be sending it my pre-production copy that David sent me. I'm going to be sending it down to Wash so he can get a few plays in, and so we can talk about it on our podcast.
Cool,
nice.
Other than that, I did get to play the Power Grid card game, but that's not Kickstarter.
That's a good one.
I haven't got it.
It's good though.
Yeah, it's all right.
I mean, look, I'm not a big fan of the board games turned card. That's not a thing I enjoy traditionally. I think this one is fairly well done. I like the map, and it removes the map. So, I mean, obviously, it's not going to be the same for me. I like the map aspect of it and the route planning, but I still enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. It was different. It was cool. But as far as Kickstarter stuff, I haven't been getting a lot, actually, surprisingly. I did finally get my Kill Dr. Lucky copy.
So for me, I definitely have Tramways, and I got North American Rails and Vanuatu 2nd Edition very recently, and I got a bunch of other games. But the one game I absolutely want, like, with my whole heart, is Ave Roma, and it still hasn't arrived. Doesn't even have shipping. Oh my gosh.
How far delayed is that one?
Well, I don't know if it's delayed or not, but they kept putting up, like, kind of cryptic updates, and this last update was just, like, from Ship Naked, and Ship Naked just said, like, yeah, we think we have your games, and they'll be out soon. Like, it was just really
you'll
awkward.
Get stuff eventually. All right, just...
Right. You'll get your shipping notices, and then
That's
it's
good
shipping.
to know. Well, Ship Naked is Game Salute, right? So, and Game Salute is Myriad.
Yes.
And Myriad is going out of business
Company,
currently, so I imagine Ship Naked is a whole... Yeah, I imagine that everything currently is kind of scattered within everything, because it's all tied in.
Well, and what kind of sucks is that Ship Naked was one of the biggest Kickstarter fulfillment services, and the other one is Amazon, and after that, it's like random small weird companies, including my own. My Card Kingdom does
I didn't know that
for a couple of different games, and it's just it's like so random. Kobold Press, which is a crazy Pathfinder thing, and
okay.
sometimes we do cheap ass
I didn't realize that.
Sometimes we do other ones. We handle Vi, the card game.
No. I've seen it.
I don't know if you played Vi.
I haven't actually played it, though.
It's a local guy, Joe, and I met him, and I helped him kind of play test the game a little bit, and then for some reason we got into discussion about fulfillment.
Well, there you go.
Like that.
Well, I'm glad it got fulfilled. That's kind of the key thing, right? Like, there needs to be a pathway for designers to go, and unfortunately, some of those paths have issues.
Well, and I keep pushing my company. I'm like, just put a pamphlet together, like, give it a name, give it a, like, dollar amount, and let's go out to cons and just hand out pamphlets.
Make it a thing, because there, again, when you see an area that needs to be fulfilled, and this is definitely one that does, and it needs to be done well. I feel like there's very little that's done well.
Well, and the only way to convince our bosses to put time and people into it is to get clients, and unfortunately it's like chicken or egg, like it's so frustrating. I just want a better fulfillment service.
I'm sure everybody who kickstarts things does. I mean, that's really why I don't kickstart much, is because I really don't handle the delays and things well. I mean, I think that we got even Orleans fairly quickly. I think it was only minorly delayed. I was still crabby about it. I was still like squinty-eyed glaring when people had it at a convention before we got it, which is ridiculous. I'm glad that it can get to the end production, but I know this about myself, so I don't really kickstart a whole lot.
That makes a lot of sense.
I mean, at least I know after kickstarting a little bit, I will still kickstart the things that I know Kickstarter is the only way to get them, or my friends' projects, like close friends' projects, for obvious support reasons.
Right.
But the bulk of the games I no longer kickstart.
Friends' projects, unless I actually want the game, I do $1.
Right. Yep.
And I've told friends, I'm like, I know you could use some extra money on this, but I don't want the product. I'm just going to help with, like, promotion if I can, if I think it's a cool thing. And it's so awkward sometimes. Like, you're like, I don't want your game. Sorry.
I know. And it's tough. It's a tough spot to be in, too. It's definitely weird when you know the people.
Yeah.
But I'm not I'm not going to kickstart a $60 game that I don't actually want to own.
Actually, there was a local designer here that was doing a project that was just $1. And he's like, why aren't you backing my campaign? I'm like, because I don't want the product. And he's like, but it's $1. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want the product. We got into like this really long philosophical argument about it.
That's when I say, I will retweet it for you.
Well, and I would be more willing to retweet it if they weren't so insistent.
Oh, no, yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like,
I pretty much, when somebody becomes insistent that I have involvement in anything, I do the exact opposite. So, for better or worse, that's just kind of my personality. If you badger me, it's probably not going to happen. If it's just a thing you do and I'm proud and happy for you, I will automatically retweet it. And
see, that's me in a nutshell, because I really like my friends. As soon as my friends are doing a thing, I'm like, hey, let's talk about that on everything I can possibly talk about.
That's amazing. I think that's wonderful. That's so cool. I don't necessarily need to own it, no.
But half a second after they say, hey, you should really own this game, I'm like, nope, I hate everything. Yeah. I'm not talking about it.
Exactly. I can hear you now, Jason. You have returned.
Yay! We were a little worried about you.
Jason did not die. He just lost his connection.
Jason did not die.
I did not end up like one of the main characters of Rogue One.
Way to bring it back.
If you're gonna die, you have to go out like K2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Yes,
that's valid.
That's the only way to die, okay?
I think so. Just from here on out.
Sad.
So I don't think I have any Kickstarters that I've gotten recently. I have gotten to play Druids, though, which is actually very beautiful. Grant Rodiak's abstract game, because my friend kickstarted it. I'm not usually a huge abstract gamer. It's really great. It's very well done. It's beautiful.
Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
I got Druids the day I was moving into this house, and I have not figured out how to put it together yet.
See, I didn't see any of that. Matt had it all like assembled when
pieces.
I saw it. Though he did accidentally pop the back of the box off when he brought it over, and he was like, I don't think I was supposed to do that.
I'm either gonna need to like take it to work and ask like someone that's craftier than me to put it together, or I'm going to have to get very smart very soon. I thought I knew how to put it together because it's just laser cut wood, right? It's made by Daft Concepts, and they do laser cut wood, all the things, but I can't get this box to stay together.
Oh no. Yeah, I suggested he glue his. I have no idea. I've never put any of those things together. It's beautiful though. And very well done. It's all nice. I think that was a really short Kickstarter to actual product campaign, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just meant to be like a kind of a premium Kickstarter. The price point is a little high. The amount that they printed was low, so they just like, okay, the few people that do want this, please back it, and then we'll make it real quick. And then they made it really fast.
Yeah, that was fast. It seems like it wasn't that long ago that I was retweeting that. See,
Yeah,
that was the one that I retweeted for Grant, but I didn't back. I'm not usually
We
huge
love
on the
Grant,
abstract.
though.
Yeah, and I didn't know that I would like it, so, you know. But
Right, and I backed Druids. I didn't buy like Farmageddon. Farmageddon was fine. Like I played it, it was fine, but it's just not my kind of game.
it's not my kind of
But
game
Druids
either.
is abstract, and I love abstract.
And it's really good abstract. You should definitely play it. It's really good.
If I can put it together.
Yeah. It definitely, I played Onitama and Druids for the first time, like, back to back, I
Ooh.
think. And Onitama I enjoy. Druids blows it out of the water. So, I'm pleased that Matt backed that one so that I can play it. So what, do you have any other Kickstarter things, Jason?
I haven't been backing as much as I had prior also, so that's probably a big part of it.
Yeah, me either. Same thing for me. I cut back on kickstarting things just because I'm not patient. So
I wasn't to do with patience, it was to do with money, so. I was spending way too much on there and spending way too much money at the game store. At, Cloud Cap, so one of the two.
Cloud Cap is good. Support your local game store. I like that. That's good. And I really like Cloud Cap.
That's right, you guys were down whenever
Yeah.
you guys came. Yeah.
Yeah, we
That's
came
right.
and played. We met Tiffany and
Yeah.
Steve there. Yep.
Cloudcap is like right across the street from my former like mother-in-law type person.
Yeah.
And so I went there a lot when I was in town. I like that place. I really like the people that work at Red Castle
Yeah.
as well. For Portland game stores.
For Portland,
Guardian's
yeah.
fine. Guardian is
Guardian's huge, right? Is that the really big one?
it's really
Yes.
big.
Okay.
It's a hangar.
It's
It's like an
very large.
airport or like an airplane hangar.
Yes. It's huge.
They literally
Yeah.
though, and I'm not even being facetious. They take every single board game they have in there and they put them alphabetically, including used games. So if you're looking for a children's game or you're looking for a war game, they could be right next to each other because it's alphabetized. It's really weird to me that is not a new gamer friendly system. That is a experienced gamer system.
And the used games are in a separate section, though.
No, not a
Yes.
Guardian.
At Guardian, yeah, they are.
Yeah, they were when
weren't
we went
I
too.
was visiting. They were mixed in with the regular games.
Oh, they were in a separate little like alcove-y area when I
That's
went.
good. I'm glad because it was really
Yeah.
confusing.
But that was pretty much the only thing that was separated.
That's the first thing I check when I go to a game store is the used games because it's usually where you'll find out of print stuff.
Absolutely.
I drive past Guardian games to go to Cloud Cap, so.
Yep, no, that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I
Usually,
mean, unless there's something
Yeah.
obscure that I'm looking for, like you said, because they do have. I mean, the staff are there is great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
you know, and it's
Their
a big
selection
store,
is
so there's tons
giant.
of
I mean-
stuff.
Their selection is a lot. Yeah.
But CloudCap is run by Eurogamers. They know their crap. Like,
Yeah, CloudCap is good.
Yeah,
they
James,
know their
good.
stuff.
Kirsten's more of a social, not social, but party, kind of a lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Party
lighter.
games.
Not necessarily
Yeah.
party, but lighter. But yeah, but the crew that they have there, and now Tiff works there, so
Right.
that's awesome.
Right, and Tiff is helping with their events and their marketing, and
Yeah,
I'm
Oh,
all
yeah.
about that.
Yep, I am too. And it's a beautiful little store. It's small, but they had a great selection, and they had a really good used selection, too.
And they had a couple of tables to play at. I was really impressed with the store overall. I liked it.
Yeah. I mean, the footprint is so small. They do a lot in that space.
And then during the summer, whenever it's nice out, they'll open up the back outside too, and there's a couple tables out there too.
Which I've never been back there. It always looks really nice, but I've only been there in winter.
Yeah.
I mean, it was May when we went, but it was actually really cold, I think. Yeah. Maybe next time it'll be warm.
So.
Maybe.
Anyway, so one of the two had to kind of go a little wayside. So.
Yeah. I'm all for, you support your community how you want to support your community.
Totally.
You do you, Jason.
Right. I'm just saying financially, it was starting to hurt a little trying to support both.
Yeah. Exactly. I choose to support my friendly local game store of choice, which is not actually my most local. I drive like an hour to go to Diversions in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, because they're great too.
Exactly.
So
I go to work and then I buy things at work. It's really bad. 80% of my purchases go to Card Kingdom, so they basically pay my rent and my game bill.
Yep. That sounds about right.
And then the other 20% goes to Fun Again or whatever I have to get the import game or whatever it is that I can't get through a regular store.
Or Kickstarter, right?
Oh, Kickstarter is big for me. I do Kickstart a lot of games, and I tend to either Kickstart the things I know I'm going to love, like any Alban VR, he did Tramways recently, and like, I'm going to like that game, if not love it. Like, it's at least going to be a like. And then I like to take kind of chances on games that might not fit my regular aesthetic, but might do well for me. Vanuatu, I got to play that recently, and that's very light, but it's mean, and I thought that might like be enough to get me over.
Oh, I like mean games too.
It's really mean. Oh my gosh, Kimberly.
People are always like, no, two-player head-to-head is bad, and I'm like, no, I love Cutthroat two-player head-to-head. Like, that's peak.
This is 5-player brawl. It is just mean.
I would probably like that, yeah.
Amazed with how competitive it was. So those are the types of things I do on Kickstarter. I either do things I know I will like, or things that if they're really good I could like them, and I back both of those types of things, which is probably more money than I should spend.
Speaking of, actually, the one I did receive that I haven't got to the table yet was Trick of the Rails. Have you played that yet, Maggie?
No, I haven't. It's in my game bag almost constantly for the last month.
Though. Yeah.
No, it's been here and not played for almost a month.
Soon. You'll be able to play it soon.
And until then, Hisashi Hayashi, and I'm looking forward to trying it. It looks really good.
It did. It just, the rule book didn't seem very clear, so I'm going to have to play a couple mock hands, it looks like.
Yeah.
That's a great way to learn, though. Yeah. As a person who doesn't like to do the learning, and I just like somebody else to teach me, I don't like to take the rule book and do it. I appreciate it when people try to play out a little bit before they try to teach it.
There are some games that you can just read and go, oh yeah, I see how that flows. And this one's just kind of interesting. It's odd. It's definitely an odd take on trick-taking games. I look forward to playing it. I was just curious if, Maggie, if you got your copy a run on it.
I will have it played soon, hopefully. I kind of regret not having it played, but I have had about 6 months of not gaming, and then the last no joke 4 days I've been gaming straight. So I'm back on my roll.
You're getting it.
It's happening. Making up for last time. I appreciate you both coming on. Kimberly, I would love it if you would share with us some plugs for your con, yourself, whatever you'd like to plug. And please, the Cubist podcast, we'd love to hear some links for that as well.
Okay. Uh-oh. Yep. This is not where I do well. Okay, you can follow along with Granite Game Summit at granitegamesummit.com or at G2 Summit on Twitter. We're also on Facebook, just Granite Game Summit. And our event is in Nashua, New Hampshire, April 7th through the 9th. Tickets are currently on sale and selling quickly, so definitely want to get those. I am at what is my Twitter handle? At KJ Bullock. It is 1 a.m. for me. I literally just had to pick up my phone and verify my Twitter handle, guys. Doing well.
It's like your own phone number. What is my phone number? Oh, yeah, that's right.
I know exactly. I know everybody else's Twitter handles. I am at KJ Bullock on Twitter, and I also am the co-host of the Cubist podcast, which I will make sure that I give you that correctly, too, because I believe it is at Cubist Let's verify this. It is at Cubist Podcast on Twitter, and we usually host Monday evenings at 10 p.m. Eastern, which is 9 for Bill, who is the host, I believe. And it is a live Google Hang that we stream on YouTube. We bring on guests every week. It's always fun, and the chat's usually pretty lively. And,
so did Brandon step down and you're co-hosting, or are all three of you now?
Brandon co-hosts every once in a while.
Cool.
And I co-host most of the time. Brandon does it sometimes.
And that's Bill Corey.
Bill Corey, yep. Bill Corey Jr. Yeah.
And then, as you know, I am Maggiebot, is Maggibot on Facebook, Twitter, Board Game Geek, pretty much anything where I would want to be found. Instagram. If it's under a different name, I don't want you to find me.
Exactly.
And I also head up Meeples Included, which is a collaboration between lots of different people, but we are meeplezincluded.com and on Facebook and Twitter. And Jason, some plugs for you as well.
You can find me at JA_Hancock, HANCOCK on Twitter. You can find my podcast at Docking Bay 94 Podcast on Facebook as well. Probably about it. It's usually where I'm at. You can find me on Facebook too.
Yeah.
We're all so good at this part.
We're doing really well. Yeah.
Well, I guess, and I should mention that I do a separate YouTube. It's Maggiebot.com, Maggibot.com. And that is vlogs, usually about my gaming habits. And then I'm on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Maggiebot. I'm telling you, like, all of the Maggiebot, it's everywhere.
You can also find our YouTube channel, Pathological Nerdcasters Network, PNCN, on YouTube as well, with monthly hangouts, a couple other videos, and check out all of our different contributors.
There you go.
Very nice. See, and I don't have nearly as many things to plug. Please don't find me on Facebook. Yeah.
Yours is like a whole convention. A whole convention.
A whole convention, but I don't have any.
I do not dare tackle a convention. That's sounds like work. So.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
It's good work, though.
I'm staff at a convention, and it exhausts me, and I work 6 days out of the year about it. So.
Yeah. No, it's a
I do a bi-weekly meetup that pretty much runs itself now with the 10 to 15 people who show up on a regular basis.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. I'm good.
That's a good... Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
So kudos to you,
good
Kimberly.
night. Thank you both for coming.
Good night. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you.